So I finally want to tackle this topic. What's more important to focus on? Technicals, psychology. When do you focus on which? The answer is very, very simple. People are overcomplicating it, and because this topic is trending now, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon and giving their opinion on it, and most people are so incorrect. It's far from reality. Everything I'm going to talk about in this video, I've said for a long period of time. Nothing here that I'm saying is going to be new. You can go back to my old videos. People who followed me for a long time, who've seen my webinars and all sorts of stuff from years ago, I've said the same exact things. So I'm not jumping on a bandwagon here and just changing what I'm saying completely to fit a narrative like most people do. So look, having coached people for a long period of time, I come across both types of individuals. And I always ask the trader, what do you think your issue is before I tell you what the issues are? I've had some conversations where they've come up to me and said, my psychology's the issue, my technicals are perfect, there's nothing wrong with them. I feel like I keep jumping into trades for no reason. But then when I look at their trades, they reflect something different back to me. They don't know how to position the trades correctly. They don't have a proper understanding of an effective trade or an ineffective trade. They don't have an idea on their strategy in the way that they should do. I've also had the opposite conversations where people have said, my technicals are the problem, my mindset's brilliant, I'm very disciplined, I do all the right things, but my technicals are the issue. But their trade journal will tell me different. They'll always have in their review comments on the trade the exact technical reason why the trade should not have been taken, or it was taken. So there's no technical deficiency. And I noticed that when I look at their self-review comments on their trades. But then they're jumping into a trade too early. Why is that? Because there's emotional issues. And to understand this, you have to understand the basic principle of the fact that we're not designed to trade as human beings. We're the worst candidates to trade the markets. Everybody knows this, or should do anyway. By nature, we don't think in probabilities. Unless you've come from a background of professional poker, which most of you haven't, you're not going to think in probabilities. You've not trained your mind to do so. This is why I don't agree with when people say, I need to find a strategy that fits my personality. Completely incorrect. You have to suit your personality to an effective strategy. That is exactly how it works. There is one type of personality, and that's a trader's personality. You have to mold your personality into that of a trader's personality. And I'm going to list the traits here as to what they are. Once you've done that, you can bring about much better performance, but there's an order that this goes in. I'm going to demonstrate it on the screens in a second. That's one point that you have to understand. The second point is this. Just because you know your strategy exceptionally well, doesn't mean you can execute it the same way on larger amounts of capital. I can give you, let's say if you traded $10,000 for a set period of time, and you're comfortable on that money now, you might know your strategy very, very well. If I give you $1 million, considering you might be somebody who's not come from a wealthy financial background, your financial literacy is different to that of somebody who has a higher financial stature of some kind, your money beliefs are different. If I give you $1 million to trade with, even though you know how to effectively trade your system, you know exactly how it works, you're not going to perform the same way. It's absolutely impossible. Your equity curve will not look the same. You'll make emotional decisions. You'll rush into certain trades. You'll hold back on certain trades. You'll get emotional. And it is proven by science, which you cannot argue with, through multiple data sets. When they've studied stock traders and also poker players as well, that their state of mind that they're in before they begin doing the act of trading or playing poker, whatever it might be, the state of mind that they're in correlates to what opportunities they see or don't see. That's a proven scientific fact. So neuroscientists have actually found that when they've studied stock traders and poker players. So again, the same principle applies. Your state of mind will heavily impact the opportunities that you see or don't see. But there is an order that this goes in. I'm going to demonstrate that on the charts to you now, and hopefully you can understand this topic a lot more deeper and a lot more simpler. In trading now, we know that there's one thing that helps every trader succeed in the end, and it's edge. The problem, however, people think edge is limited to one thing and your trading strategy. That's incorrect. There's actually 3 things that make up your edge as a trader in the markets. So I'm just going to put edge in the middle here so you can see that. First part of this is your trading strategy. I'm going to put an S there. The second part is your trading plan. And the final part is your trader psychology. I'm going to symbolize that with an M to obviously mean mindset. So your strategy, your trading plan, and your mindset. These 3 things are the only 3 things that make up an edge in the market in the end. If you're missing any one of these, you will not have an edge, which means you will not make money in the end over time. That means that you can have an effective strategy that's proven to work. You might have a poorly constructed trading plan. It might be too detailed. It might be under detailed. Your trading plan, my best advice from experience, has to be very bland. It can't have all this detail in it that's unnecessary. I've seen 15-page long trading plans. Why are you going to have a trading plan that long? You don't need that. Because then when you've got so much criteria to work by, one, there's more room for error. You don't want loads of things to think about, especially when you're moving large amounts of money. It's too much to think about. When you're on the go, you're on the move, you're in a situation where the pressure might be high, for example, you might be around people. You want to make sure that your decision making is simple and it's effective. So that means you need a trading plan that is dynamic and rigid. So it's not limited as well, okay? And there's to do that and to get to that stage, you need to have a firm understanding about the mechanics of how you trade. So you see how this all links together, it's very simple. Let's say you've got a poorly constructed trading plan, you've got a very good strategy, and your mindset's also fantastic. You've got the right mindset required to succeed as a trader. You're still not going to win because you're missing one of the tenets. Let's say that you've got a fantastic strategy, you've got a very effective, proven to work trading plan that's very simple and on paper easy to follow, but your mind's all over the place. You're still not going to win. So it doesn't matter which one of these are missing. If any one of them are missing or they're not fulfilled correctly or fully, you're not going to have an edge as a trader. So the question now is, well, which one do you focus on first, technicals or psychology? Because that's the ultimate reason you're watching this video. This is why I wanted to explain this triangle first, so you can now understand this much better. I'm going to draw you. So I do apologize if I'm not drawing you as accurately as I can, but this symbolizes you as a trader, right? I'll give you a little happy face here. So you're happy you've started trading. Now, on the start of your journey, you're going to go down potentially one or two paths. Path A and Path B. Let's assume that you're on each path for 2 years. And now let's assume Path A symbolizes a path whereby all you're focusing on is just your trading strategy and your trading plan. And that's it. All you're bothered about is understanding how you trade the markets, what language do you view the markets by, your trading strategy, and also creating a criteria out of that is proven to be effective and works, which is your trading plan. And that's all your focus is, just like it was mine in the beginning as well. What's going to happen now, because you're not staying aware and you're not tracking, how do I respond to winning trades? How do I respond to losing trades? How do I respond to break-even positions? How do I respond to missing positions? I've seen so many times over, I can't even explain to you. People have equity curves like this. They're doing very, very well. And then all of a sudden something happens and they go downhill and they bottle it. I've seen people get withdrawals on the way up. Excellent performance. Something happens that triggers a decline in the equity curve. I've seen this not once, not twice, multiple times. And when I speak to the traders, it was something to do with they missed a couple of trades where they were patient for a few weeks. They expected, obviously emotionally and psychologically, they expected a reward from the market for being patient. They felt entitled in a way that I've actually been patient. I deserve a trading opportunity. They run out of patience eventually, they take a poor position, or they might miss a few trades. After being patient for such a period of time, it'd be a very annoying experience, of course, right? You've been patient for 2-3 weeks, then you miss a few trades because of something silly. You know, I've had many cases where I'm looking at the charts and a trade's going to shape up in the next 5-10 minutes, what I've speculated, and I go down to get a glass of water, and I come back up and the trade's just gone, and it shaped up a lot quicker than I thought. That's happened a few times to me. So those annoying experiences do happen. Now, because a trader's not built this muscle of damage control, which is not letting something bad turn into something worse, which is a very, very, very important skill to have as a trader, one of the most important skills in my opinion to have as a trader, to damage control and weather the storm, not make things worse than they have to be. What's going to happen is that's usually what you'll find is the trigger effect to this bleeding in performance. So that happens. I've seen that very, very commonly. So you have to track those things. How do you respond to winning, losing, break even, and also missing positions? How do you respond to pressure overall? If you're not tracking these things and this guy is only focusing on strategy and also trading plan, the wrong things are going to marinate, because you have to understand this. Yes, by the end of this 2-year period, even though he's not directly working on his mind, the market will provide him or her with a certain type of psychology anyway. That's going to happen, but the question is it the right type of psychology or is it the wrong type of psychology? And who's to say you're trading for 2, 3, 4 years that you're going to get more and more confident by the year just because you know your strategy better? That's not how it works. And I'm sure that's common sense. Trader B, or Path B even, So this guy, he's working on things in duality, both the trading strategy and plan, learning the mechanics of how he trades and why he does that, and also focusing on his emotional patterns. Why does he behave the way that he does? How does he respond to the same thing, winning, losing, break-even trades, missed trades, all these kind of things? If you can track that and he can figure out a pattern in his emotions, like, okay, every time that I miss 2 or 3 trades or I make a certain type of slip up, whatever it might be, this is how I perform in the end, this is how I respond, and this is how it affects my performance. So yes, I agree. To begin, you have to first of all learn the mechanics of how you trade. Trading is just like learning a language. You have to start small and then build on it. So you have to learn the letters, the words, the basics. Hi, how are you? Where are you from? What's your name? How old are you? These basic terms, and you build on it. Then eventually you can read a passage, and you can read a page of, let's say, a book that you're learning in Chinese as an example. And then you can read a book, and eventually you can write a book. That is trading. So the strategy that you're learning is the language by which you're viewing the markets from, or how to interpret the markets. So you have to, first and foremost, this is exactly what I did as well, the starting stage is, just for the first few months, understand the language, learn how you trade, and learn the mechanics of how you trade. Then when it comes to actually applying what you've learned in the markets, that is when you need to start tracking you. You need to start tracking the type of trades that you're taking. You have to start tracking your emotional behaviors, your emotional patterns, and all these kind of things. How do you speak to yourself when it comes to the execution? How do you speak to yourself pre-execution, post-execution? All of these things that will eventually give you sort of a cycle map of how you think and who you are. And then that way you can make the relevant adjustments and refinements into your trading to ultimately make you a better trader. So I've simplified it with these 2 simple diagrams for you on the screens. So what comes first, trading psychology or trading technicals? Well, in simple terms, after the first few months of just learning how you trade and why you trade the way that you do, and getting a good idea as to what's effective, what's ineffective, you have to go into the market with that base, trade that, forward test it essentially, and work on your mind and work on your technicals in duality together. So the answer is both of them together. There's not one after the other kind of thing. I can't just say, right, I'll leave my psychology for 2 years later after I've got 2 years worth of trades to go through. That's not necessarily smart, nor is it effective. So when I'm coaching anyone in the community and they jump on and they say, look, this is my issue, I'll say, look, scrap it, start from the beginning. If you're brand new, here's a trading plan base that I'm going to give you of proven effective setups that work. I want you to trade that. I want you to show yourself and also me that you can follow it for a set period of time, say 3 to 4 weeks. Once you've done that and you've proven yourself to have discipline to follow a simple, effective plan, the next stage we're going to look at is now let's look at higher quality and lower quality versions of these setups. And I want you strictly to take higher quality setups or versions of these setups, for the next 4 weeks. Show me that you can do that. And then after that, we can get you on capital. And that's when we start tracking things ahead. So that's how simple it should be. People act like it's very difficult to find an effective strategy nowadays. Like we're living in a world where we've not got so much information. If you wanted to find a proven profitable strategy, it's really not difficult in today's day and age. What's more important is where you're learning from. Do they have proper infrastructure? That's a different topic for a different day. It's not part of this video. So that's my take on it. As long as you go into the markets first and foremost, section off the first few months just to learn, get familiar with how you trade, get a basic idea of what is a good setup, what is not a good setup, based on the mechanics of how you trade, and learn that. And that obviously comes down to your education source as well, if it's clear enough. Then after that, go into the markets with your trade journal, also an emotion logger to track, right, how do you also behave in the markets right now? Yes, that will change over time, but it's good to track it so you're more aware of it. Because if you have the right psychological tools like that from the get-go, when you make any errors, whether they be technical or whether they be psychological, at least you can differentiate it from the beginning. As opposed to leaving that for 2 years later where it marinates, it gets worse, and then it's harder to change those mental beliefs and those mental habits or patterns. Now, when it comes to building a trading plan to finalize this, if you're learning from a place where you're not given a base or a template at least as to what are generally effective setups that you can build upon, either switch your education source or ask somebody who knows how you trade and understands how you trade very, very well for a basic template of a list of a few setups that work, that are effective. You can then trade them, refine them through live trading and forward testing over a period of time. And that's how you get better, which ultimately requires time. But at least you know if you're going down a set path for a certain period of time, that the experience that you're gaining is the correct experience, and the psychology that you're obtaining and creating out of that is the right psychology. People only focus on 1 or 2 tenets and they go forward for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then they forget this one, and they work on it too late. And what happens is, at that point, it's so difficult to unwire all the negative belief patterns that they've got. Now you give that person $1 million, $2 million to trade with, they give it back. These are the kind of traders that will have a steadily rising equity curve. Something will happen, they can't damage control because they're not built that muscle. They're not aware to the mistakes that they're making psychologically because they've never worked on it. And next thing you know, they give all that money back. That is the worst position to be in, where you've scaled your way up, you've scaled your lifestyle up, and now you have to give everything back because you haven't built that muscle. So hopefully this video summarizes that and makes it simple. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.